Hey everybody, this is my 20-gallon open-topped office tank, and several hours ago I got finished doing some work on the tank. I removed a bunch of plants, and most importantly I added a bunch of sand and gravel. And when I did so, I left the tank very cloudy, but I suspected it was going to be cloudy like that for several days because of the nature of the really fine particulate, the sand that was swirling around in the tank. So what I did was I used some fleece as a sort of faux polishing pad. It's not as dense as the true polishing pads that literally filter down to the microns, 15, 20 microns. But this does a really good job at filtering, and the more clogged it starts to get, the more it filters. And so as long as it's still allowing water to flow, which it is, I'm going to leave the original pad I put in there in the first place and let it just keep on doing its thing. Once I start seeing a little bit of backflow coming over here, I'll go ahead and swap out that pad we were just looking at a moment ago, and that will continue to clear it up even more. But I just wanted to cover a couple of things before I turn the light out for the night. I wanted to point out, first of all, that it is about 11 o'clock at night, so that means it's been, I don't know, maybe 5 or 6 hours since I finished up. And despite me expecting it to take several days for the tank to clear up, we're already this clear. Now, I know we're not there yet, but we're pretty close. I would imagine by the morning I'm going to come in here and I'm not going to be able to tell I did any work to the tank, at least in terms of how cloudy the water is. So now that the water isn't so cloudy, we can get a little bit better look. It really doesn't look a whole lot different, except for when you look across the front here, you can just see it's deeper and there's sand in there now. But visually, not a whole lot's changed. So that's kind of what I was going for. I mean, if you look at the whole tank overall, the depth of water is a little bit shallower. I probably reduced my volume of water by a few gallons there. But this is not now, nor is it going to be, a very heavily stocked tank, so I'm not too worried about it. The other thing I wanted to point out, if you watched the other video and you saw how much sand we started with and you saw how much gravel we started with, and I kept saying the whole video, there's no way I'm going to use all this sand, there's no way I'm going to use all this gravel, this is way more than I'm going to need. Well, I used all of the gravel and all but that much sand. So I put pretty much all of that sand, if you saw that other video, and I'll attach a card. It was a 35-minute video. It was the whole process, start to finish. Literally, I started with the water change. Before we even got started, I had to start with the water change and pulling some stuff out of there and turning the filter off. And so we started there. We rinsed the sand, we rinsed the gravel, and then we went ahead and put it all in the tank, and then we did a big follow-up. And like I said, it was a lengthy video, but I'll make sure you see it if you wanted to, if you already missed that one. But all of that sand went in the tank, and that whole bucket of gravel went in there too. So I'm happy with it. Again, I don't know if we're going to get the results I'm hoping for, but we're going to get something. I think we'll get results. I don't know if we'll get the results I'm looking for, but I think we'll get something. Now you can see in the back, I lifted the power head up. I just sort of slid the whole thing up, but I kept it at the same angle. And if you look really closely, you will be able to see little bits and pieces of gravel every now and again will rock or move in the current as the water blows across it. Of course, as time goes on, that will sort itself out. All the pieces that are small enough to move will get moved, and the larger pieces will stay there. And then, of course, the same thing will happen with the sand. Will move away from it or sift down and filter down between the larger pieces, and eventually we'll get sort of a stable, this is where the sand's going to be and this is where the sand's not going to be kind of setup. And I think we'll do okay. You will also notice my filter intake has been shortened. It used to go all the way down, almost touching the gravel, but because of the sand in there, and even though the sand's not really, visible there on the surface, all it takes is one fish being startled and kicking, and a little bit of sand kicking up and getting sucked up into that filter, and the tiniest little bit of grit can seize up one of those impellers. Now, I also mentioned in my other video, I'm not too worried about that happening because I do have the power head we were just looking at. So even if the filter shuts down, I'll still have water circulation. And frankly, in a tank this shallow, I could get away without any water circulation at all. I would still get plenty of gas exchange. And if maybe down at the very, very bottom, might be getting a little bit oxygen poor. But again, a tank this shallow with that much surface area, I don't think I'd have too much trouble even without the power head in there. But of course, the power head keeping the water circulating around will keep my gas exchange up, and will also keep the nitrogen cycle that's, sort of inherent within the tank will continue functioning even if the filter shuts down. So there you go. Just wanted to give you a last look before I turn the lights out here. As I said, it's about 11 o'clock, and the lights go out in this tank around 11:30, something like that. But I did want to show you that it's cleared up this much already this evening. We just got finished about 5-6 hours ago. And here we are Sunday morning before the lights have come on. So I wanted to give you a chance to see what the tank looks like when it's supposedly dark. It's about noon. I usually turn the lights off here at the end of the day, late at night when I go to bed, so I usually don't turn them on until around lunchtime. So the tank averages about 12 hours of light a day, like most of my tanks do. So we're still working on the original filter. I haven't replaced that piece of fleece yet. And just over the course of the night, you can see how much the tank is completely cleared out. It's probably not 100% clear at this point, but it's as clear as it's ever going to be. If there's still stuff swirling around, that's the kind of stuff that will probably always, get kicked up and whatever. But that's certainly clearer than I'm used to seeing it. I'm used to seeing little tiny bits of debris and particles and dead leaves and all kinds of stuff swirling around in there. So that filter is really filtering out everything. And again, the cloudiness was the only thing I was concerned about. So as I said last night before turning the lights out, I fully expected the tank to be completely clear by this morning, and it is. So I like it. I think it looks good. And as I keep saying, over time, the sand will settle down, and it'll become a deeper, denser, more compacted substrate. You'll see less of it visible on the surface. The only place we're really going to see the sand is along this front edge. It's already down to the point where it just looks like a more or less a gravelly bottom. A little bit of sand right there, but for the most part, I think it looks really good. I'm really happy with it. That's just a little look straight down into it. I really do like open top tanks, and that's exactly why. This one I can't really see that well down into it. I can a little bit, but as I've already mentioned before, it's on a roll top desk, and I can't really get right up close to it. So I can sort of see into the top of it. The main reason this one's open top is to let that temple plant grow up and out, because this may look diminutive now, but give it some time. I'll be getting in here with some clippers and cut it down before it hits my ceiling. So, alright everybody, I'm going to say thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed that. Make sure you're subscribed. We're going to go out on the water today and get a piece of driftwood, and we're going to see if we can find a place to put it, because it's really big, but it's really awesome. So make sure you're subscribed. You won't miss that or anything else. So thanks for watching. Don't forget, this is my 20-gallon office tank. See you real soon in the next one.